process and should not be discussed with others. The information you share will be shared with Cynthia or Magdalene McDonald and the Commissioner. Do you understand that your name and the information you share is not anonymous and will be shared with Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay. The Commissioner only has legislative authority over complaints of unprofessional conduct and professional incompetence specific to Alberta certificated teachers and teacher leaders. This is the preliminary inquiries part of the complaint process, which must be completed within 30 days of the complaint being referred to the Alberta Teaching Profession Commission. My role as a regulatory specialist is to gather information for the Commissioner so that they can make an informed decision on the next step of the complaint at the preliminary stage. I do not make any decisions, and the Commission acts as a neutral party, representing neither the complainant nor teacher leader in the complaint process. Following inquiries, the information will be shared with the Commissioner, and they will make one of the following decisions, which are to take no further action, refer to mediation, refer to dispute resolution, or refer to investigation. And with this in mind, would you like to continue with this complaint?
Yes.
Okay. Have you received the notification of complaint letter from the Alberta Teaching Profession Commission?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to confirm your contact information is correct. We have 1026 106th Street Northwest, Edmonton, Alberta, postal code T6J 6G8.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Email, we have Kemit19 as a KEMIT19 at gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay. And your phone number 587-712-0639.
Correct.
Thank you. Please contact the Commission if your contact information changes prior to the closure of the file. This will ensure that you receive all relevant documentation pertaining to this complaint. Now that your contact information has been confirmed, can the Alberta Teaching Profession Commission continue to communicate with you and or send all correspondence using this information?
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware of any other investigations or complaints, past or present, that have been made regarding these allegations, including you may have filed?
Yes.
Okay, specifically against Cynthia McDonald?
Yes, specifically against her.
Okay. Who was the your complaint submitted to?
I was submitted to the court because I subpoenaed her back in February.
Okay. Have there been any decisions made on that at all?
Only thing was that there was no going forward with the matter.
Okay. So the Commissioner only has legislative authority over complaints of unprofessional conduct and professional incompetence specific to Alberta certificated teachers and teacher leaders.
Yes.
And today we are talking about the conduct and incompetence in relation to Cynthia Erna Magdalene McDonald. What is your role in relation to Cynthia?
I'm the parent of my children, and my role was when my children were registered at that school, Pollard Meadows. I wasn't informed until a month after they were there that they were attending. So as the parent, my parental rights were violated, and I was not consulted as to whether I even wanted my children attending that school to begin with, considering they were not in school for 67 days.
Okay. What was Cynthia's role at Pollard Meadows School?
Her role was the principal, and I was informed by Celine Vandermate, who is the school registrar, that my children were registered at the school, and this was communicated to me via the, what is they call her, the parent one or witness one, Nicole and Tamara Nicholas. I was communicated to me by her attorney at the time, Kevin Livingstone, who sent me an email informing me my children were at Pollard Meadows on February 5th, 2026. So I was never communicated with about them being registered, and when I made a request to get the school zone information, that's when I was given my children's attendance records from Celine. And so that's when I filled out what I had to fill out on School Zone, and then went up to speak with Cindy MacDonald.
Okay. So, in the complaint, you say that Cynthia did not contact you as to whether you gave consent for your children
No,
to be moved.
no.
So, was Cynthia required to contact you to obtain consent for your children to be moved from Abbott School to Pollard Meadows schools, right?
No, it was actually from Abbott to Norwood. And Norwood was not the school of record in the Family Court of King's Bench. And so from Norwood, they had been attending, my children were attending Norwood. Then that was around December. That was December 2nd. So from December 2nd up until February 5th, I was under the impression they were still at Norwood. And it wasn't until the 5th when I got the email from Kevin Livingstone is when I found out that they were attending Pollard Meadows. There's no emergency protection order. There's no restraining order. So under the Family Law Act of Alberta, I was supposed to be communicated with, and there's no parenting order. So decisions pertaining to my children have to be joint, not unilateral.
Can you clarify who's Kevin Livingstone?
He used to be Nicole Tamara Nicholas's attorney at Legal Aid.
Okay.
And so based on the November 24th, 2025 order from Justice Krause, there was supposed to have been a letter confirming my children were attending Abbott. This came directly via email on November 14th, 2025 from Kevin Livingstone. And so what happened was on the 24th of November, or 7/4/20, okay, on the 21st of November, we went to family court, and I wanted confirmation my children were attending Abbott Elementary. And so there was an order from Justice Krause giving them till the 28th of November 2025 to provide the letter from Abbott Elementary confirming my children were attending there. That didn't happen. That ended up going to, I ended up getting a letter from Maureen Matthews at Norwood. So when I got the email on February 5th, 2026 from Kevin Livingstone's assistant, Roxanne Campbell, that's when I found out my children were attending Pollard Meadows. So between November 1st, 2025 and February 5th, 2026, I don't know where my children have been staying. So when I contacted the school and said, well, I wasn't aware of this and I don't give consent for them to be attending Pollard Meadows because I was not communicated with, that was how I found out about that, and I went up to the school to speak with, to actually make a change on the school zone for my children's address, and then spoke with Cindy MacDonald.
Okay. Just to clarify, who is Nicole?
Nicole Nicholas is the mother of my children.
Okay. And so the children were moved from Norwood to Pollard Meadows School. Was Cynthia required to contact you to obtain consent for your children to be moved to Pollard Meadows?
Of course. Because Nicole Nicholas doesn't have her permanent residency card. She's not a permanent resident. Well, she got her permanent residency, her ECOPR. It expired on September 30th. So from October 1st, 2025, currently, she doesn't have a permanent residency card to show how she has a legal right to be in Canada.
Okay. Under what authority did Cynthia was Cynthia required to tell you that your children had been moved to Pollard Meadows?
Under the order of Justice Krause of November 25th, 2020, November 24th, 2025, under the Education Act, under the Family Act, under the Canada Charter of Rights and Freedoms, under the UN Declaration on Human Rights, under Section 35 of the Canada Constitution Act. Under the UN, on the Hague Statute on the Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction. because
How do you know?
Mhm.
How do you know Cynthia was required under what authority to let you know that your children had moved?
Because under the Immigration Act, IRP, Immigration and Refugees Protection Act, under sections 40, 44, and section 117, Nicole does not have permanent residency. So therefore, she can't prove how she has a legal right to be in Canada. She has no permanent residency card. So as such, the only one who can be communicated with in that regard is myself, because I was born in Edmonton.
Was Cynthia informed on November 24th, 2025 of the court order that you referenced?
No, because the court, again, of the school of record was Abbott Elementary, and that was Bobby, I think her name is Whitmore, or Whitrow, is the principal at Abbott Elementary. So the order, when we went to court on the 21st of November, I was told again, November 14th, by Kevin Livingstone, signed by him via email, that my children were attending Abbott. So when we went to court on the 21st, that's what he emailed me on the 14th of November. The 21st, we went to court. On the 24th, the order of Justice Krause was signed. It was issued. I got the email from the clerk's office directly from the court. The school of record on the record was Abbott Elementary. So when I got the letter from Norwood on December 2nd, I contested that, and that's how I ended up filing a complaint against Maureen. So from November 24th up to February 5th, at the very minimum, my children should still be at Norwood, not at Pollard Meadows. And when I found out from Celine Vandermeer at Pollard Meadows that my children, she gave me the attendance record, 67 days they were not in school. From what I recall, after about 10 days, the principal steps in to want to know why the children are not attending. My children were not attending for 67 days, and I got a phone call on November 25th, 2025 from Brian, who is the attendance board, and he had confirmed to me that my children weren't registered anywhere, despite the fact I registered them on November 5th with Edmonton Public Schools and got an email confirmation that the children were registered. And I went and spoke with the children, the schools I wanted them back in, which was Cahiwin and Tevi Miller.
Okay. Do you have the email from Kevin? Are you able to read that to us?
Yeah, I can get that email from Kevin. Just give me a second here to pull it up. That's not a problem. Okay. There we go. So, this is Friday, November 14th, 2025 at 2:33 p.m. The subject is re-corrected scan notice. Attention, Nicole and Kevin, notice to attend family court.
Sorry, Nanya, can I jump in?
Yes.
Justin is referring to the February 5th email from Kevin. If you could please read that.
Oh, okay. February 5th.
Yes, sorry.
There we go. Okay, so first is the letter from Kevin. Okay, so here it is. And if you want a copy, I have no problem emailing that as well. Okay, file number 234662, February 5th, 2026. Sent via email to kemet19@gmail.com. Legal Aid Alberta, Kevin D. Livingstone, lawyer, with his phone number and address. Email. Dear Mr. Ale, re Ale versus Nicholas, FL03-76644. Nicole does not want to provide you with her current residential address as she is concerned that you will engage in stalking behaviors. However, the children are now registered at Pollard Meadows School and started attending there on January 9th, 2026. A confirmation letter from the school dated January 14th, 2026 is attached. When the children are not in school, Nicole provides the care and supervision. With respect to your request for an overnight bag, there is no need for Nicole to send one with the children because you have most of the children's clothing, etc. Please note that Nicole has followed up with Tevi Miller School. She has been told that Empress may return there in September to begin the next school year. The school is assessing to see if Majesty will also be able to attend in the fall. Nicole says that she is willing to pay for half of the monthly tuition for the school and also half of the society fees. Are you willing to pay the other half? She understands that the school bus would not be able to attend at 2 different addresses, so one option would be for you to pick up the children directly from school. We look forward to hearing from you. Yours truly, Legal Aid Alberta, per Kevin Livingstone. And then this is the letter from Pollard Meadows, dated January 14th, 2026. To whom it may concern, Re Ale Empress, date of birth September 4th, 2018. Ale Majesty, date of birth October 31st, 2020. This letter serves as verification of registration for Empress Ale and Majesty Ale at Pollard Meadows School. Both students began attending Pollard Meadows School on January 9th, 2026. According to our records, Empress Ale and Majesty Ale reside with their mother, Nicole Nicholas. If you require any further information, please do not hesitate to contact the school. Celine Vandermeer, Administrative Assistant, Edmonton Public Schools.
Great. Sorry, when was that one sent?
Hold on one second. Let me go back to it. January 14th, 2026, but they said they began attending January 9th, 2026. And I got a registration letter from Maureen Matthews December 2nd, 2025, saying that my children were attending Norwood Public School.
Who registered your children at Pollard Meadows School?
According to the record, it was Nicole, but there is no physical address. She used a post office box. You can't use a P.O. box to register children at a school. Furthermore, she doesn't have her permanent residency card, and you have to show what right you have to be in Canada in order to register the children, and she doesn't have that.
How do you know she registered the children at the school?
Because when I got School Zone, I went in and looked under the student information, and that's where I saw she used a post office box for herself and the children. I'm like, you can't use a P.O. box to register children. I said, that's fraud.
So did Nicole have authority to register your children at Pollard Meadows?
No, she didn't have authority to register at Pollard Meadows. As per the November 24th order from Justice Krause at Court of King's Bench Family Law Court under FL 03-76644, which is my case, which I filed to get custody of my children, and which she was in default under a family claim that I filed on October 6, 2025. She doesn't have authority. She doesn't have her permanent residency card. She's also a self-admitted convict with 3 criminal convictions. So under that, she's not even supposed to be having the children in her custody or care.
Who sets out the requirement for registering students at Edmonton Public School Division?
I would deduce that falls under the province of Alberta via the Education Act. Because I've registered my son at Kahiwan and my daughter at Kahiwan, and then my daughter at Tevi Miller. So 2020 school year going from 2024 to 2025, my daughter was at Kihiwan, and then she went to Tevi Miller for the 20, what are we at, 25? Okay, so 24 to 25, she was at Kihiwan. Then I registered my son in 2025 for the 2025-2026 at Kihiwan. So both times you have to do that online, and you have to upload your ID about how the parent is able to be in Canada, what right they have, etc. And like I stated before, I've been born in Edmonton, so I'm from here.
Okay. So you stated in your complaint that your children were out of school for 67 days, and as such, you should have been contacted by Cynthia as to whether you gave consent for the children to be moved, and this is international child trafficking.
Yes.
So, right. What school were your children registered in at the time they were absent from school for 67 days?
Kihiwan for my son and Tevi Miller for my daughter. And I didn't find out until maybe February of 2026. Either that or it was between February or December of 2025. I found out that my children were actually, were in Calgary as of September 6th, 2025. September 12th, their mother called both Kihiwan and Tevi Miller and took them out of school. Now, under the Family Law Act, anyone who was in...
Sorry, Nanya,
yes.
I'm going to interject here. I need you to keep the conversation specific to Cynthia McDonald, please. So how was Cynthia involved in September of 2025 in regards to your children?
Great, because when I got the notice from Celine of their attendance record, my children were taken out of school on September 12th officially. September 6th, I found out Nicole was in Calgary. Under the Family Law Act, you must give 60 days notice to relocate. Anyone who is in contact with my children has to be notified that Nicole wanted to move from one city to another. But you have to fill out a federal form, it has to be filed, and then we have to have a hearing and go to court. That never happened. So when I got the email from Kevin Livingstone on February 5th, 2026, and I got the school zone password to get into school zone, that's when I made inquiries, and I got an email back from Celine giving me my children's attendance record. So they had 67 days missing. I registered my son again for Kihiwan, my daughter for Tevi Miller, and for 67 days of being out of school, someone from the education minister, Edmonton Public Schools, the superintendent, should have contacted me, social worker, someone should have contacted me to find out why aren't the children in school, and that never happened. And so if Nicole was homeschooling as she alleged, then she has to give the reason why she's taking them out of school, because that's
Nanya,
the procedure.
what is Cynthia McDonald's role in all of this?
Her role in all of this is that as a principal, she should have had knowledge that these children had too many days missing. So she should have contacted me to find out why are these children having 67 days of school missing during the school year. I was in court the other day and the judge was upset with a different couple why the children, they were 11 and 14 and they hadn't been to school in 10 days. And he said 10 days was too much time missed. My children got 67. Nobody from Edmonton Public Schools, not the education minister, not Cindy, to inquire why are your children having this amount of absences from school, and I'm the parent. That's what her role is. So that was what you call negligence. Under the Education Act, she's supposed to make inquiries. That's way too many absences. So how can she register or allow the registration to occur at Pollard Meadows, and my children have been out for 67 days?
How does Cynthia not contacting you to obtain consent for your children to be registered at Pollard Meadows amount to child trafficking?
Say that again, please.
Yeah, how does Cynthia not contacting you to obtain consent for your children to be registered in Pollard Meadows amount to child trafficking?
Great question. Because November 24th, 2025 was the order by Justice Krause. The school of record was Abbott Elementary. The letter from Kevin stated, I can tell you, Nanya, that the children are attending Abbott Elementary. This is his November 14th letter. Hello, Nanya. I acknowledge receipt of your notice to attend. Thank you for sending it with the corrected format. We'll be sending our proposal. We will be sending our proposal soon for our resolution. Let's see here. Hold on, I'm just trying to get this screen here opening up. Where's this roll bar? There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's why. Okay, so let me start from the top so it's full. So Friday, November 14th, 2025 at 2:33 p.m. Hello, Nanya. I acknowledge receipt of your notice to attend. Thank you for sending it with the corrected format. We'll be sending you soon our proposal for our resolution council meeting on December 16th. Now, this is dated November 14th, 2025. But I can answer a couple of your questions quickly. Nicole is not responding to your emails because Justice Kiss specifically said there's to be no communication between the two of you at exchanges or otherwise. Part of our RC proposal is to permit email exchange about the children between the two of you. Nicole does live in Edmonton. The children are attending Abbott Elementary School. So when we went to court the following Friday on the 21st of November 2025, and I required proof that the children are attending Abbott Elementary, that's when Justice Krause asked Mr. Livingstone, can you facilitate a letter confirming the children are registered at Abbott? Because Brian told me that they weren't registered anywhere at the attendance board for Edmonton Public Schools. So on the 24th was the order. That order was also sent to Cindy MacDonald, informing her, if anything, the children should be at Norwood, not at Pollard Elementary. So Cindy MacDonald has that. Furthermore, again, I emphasize the fact that Nicole is a self-admitted convict with 3 criminal convictions.
Dania, I'm sorry, can you please clarify? You previously stated that Cynthia McDonald was not provided a copy of the court order. Can you please provide us how you know Cynthia McDonald was provided a copy of the court order in November of 2025?
Of November of 2025, she wouldn't have had it because Pollard was not even on the radar. They were immaterial at that point.
So what court order are you referring to that Cynthia McDonald was sent?
This November 24th, 2025 order from Justice Krause, because I'm the one that sent it to her, because she obviously didn't know and Nicole obviously didn't tell her.
So when did you send that to Cynthia McDonald?
That was, let me see if I can pull that up. That shouldn't be a problem. That would have been after I got this letter on February. Cindy McDonald, let me check my email records here. Okay, so it's looking like let's see, it's looking like it's March 17th. Yeah, so what I'm looking at here is March 17th. Yeah, this was an email I sent her and Cindy Vanderlei on March 17th, Tuesday at 5:06 p.m. Greetings to Celine and Cindy. Much appreciated for the admission regarding my children and your participation in their kidnapping and abduction. Do you all have a copy of Nicole Nicholas's PR card issued by IRCC? No, you do not. I do not consent to the children being at Pollard. They must be removed from your school as I did not give consent and I did not register them there. This is criminal kidnapping and child trafficking involving the principal, EPSB, ATA, Pollard School Board, and Nicole Tamara Nicholas. Nicole, on the other hand, is not a citizen nor a permanent resident of Canada. Her ECOPR expired on September 30th, 2025. See PDFs attached. Nicole does not have a valid PR card issued from IRCC, which she admitted to. See video attached. When do you plan on contacting CBSA or IRCC to report that Nicole is an inadmissible foreign national with no legal status in Canada? Or do I have to report this principal, Celine, and the rest of you to CBSA for child abduction, kidnapping, and trafficking? See IRPA 4044, Education Act, Canada's 60s scoop, Truth and Reconciliation, UNDRIP Act Canada, UN Convention on Genocide, Canada Convention on Genocide, and the Hague Statute on Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction. Where are my children? I do not know where they sleep from Sunday night to Thursday night. Nicole and her lawyer, Kevin Livingstone, who is currently under investigation, refused to tell me. This is child trafficking, harboring, kidnapping, and abduction. I was born here in Edmonton. It is required under the law my children are returned to me. I bring to your attention Canada Criminal Code Section 21. The school zone does not work. When I try to log in, it tells me to contact the school. And then I got an email from Celine after this, in which I think this is after when I got the attendance records. And that was the first communication, was the attendance record where it showed 67 days of absences.
What was Cynthia's response to that March 17th email?
I don't think she responded to that email. Let me just check.
Why are you not able to log into School Zone?
No, at the time I wasn't able. I can log in now, but at the time when I got the password, it wasn't working. That was the reason for that email, and that's why I said I can't log into School Zone. So when Celine responded, she went and gave me the password along with the attendance record of 67 days missed. So that's when I was like, how long were you unable to
log into School Zone?
Like 24 hours. It was like, just a day. And then she responded, I think it was the next day or that afternoon. It was real quick. I got a real quick response to rectify that.
In January of 2026, if you were able to log into School Zone, why were you unable to see where your children were registered?
No, I wasn't in School Zone in January 26th. The last time I was in School Zone may have been September, when my children were fraudulently taken out and illegally taken out of Kihiwan and Tevi Miller. After I got the letter from Kevin, February 5th, 2026, that's when I realized that, I don't have the School Zone account, because when my daughter was going to Kihiwan, I would log in on her School Zone for the 2024-2025 year. I realized I didn't get the School Zone. So when my children were registered by Nicole, protocol would have been for them to give myself and Nicole. Well, since she registered them, she has a School Zone access. I was supposed to have School Zone access. I don't have it. There's no parenting order. There's no emergency protection order, and there is no restraining order. So there's no reason for Cindy to not communicate with me until after my children are registered without my consent.
Sorry, Justin, go ahead. Go into that last section if you want.
Okay. So you stated that the registration dated January 14th, 2026 was fraud and criminal. How is the registration fraud?
Great question. On December 16th, we had a resolution council meeting, which I had read that email previous. So at the resolution council meeting, Nicole brought up, not Nicole, but the KC, Michelle Padirny, brought up the fact and was real clear. Just because Nicole has the children, just because they're living in a different place, just because they're going to the school at the time, which was Norwood, does not mean she is in compliance with the November 25th endorsement of Justice Krause. She is still in non-compliance. This was as of December 16th. So when they get switched from Norwood to Pollard Meadows, I'm certain that Nicole and her counsel at the time, which was Kevin Livingstone, did not forward that endorsement, because the school of record on the record is Abbott Elementary, and then they moved them to Norwood. Okay, they're at Norwood. That's on the north side. I'm on the south side. Whatever. Then I get, oh, now they're at Pollard. I'm like, why do they keep moving my children in the last 4 months to 3 different schools with a 67-day attendance of non-attendance? And my daughter, being that she's 7, it's mandatory under the Education Act that she has to be in school. So the question is, why would Nicole take them out of school on September 5th for 67 days and then rush to get them back into school, and no one's communicating with me? That's a charter rights violation.
What was Cynthia's role regarding the registration?
Well, as the principal and Celine being underneath her, she would have been responsible to, that should have been a red flag for the children to have a 67-day of non-attendance. That's supposed to be automatic red flag. There should have been someone contacting me from Edmonton Public School Board, somebody from the education minister. None of that happened. So therefore, they're not following the Education Act. The Education Act is immaterial.
Was Cynthia a party to the endorsement?
I'm deducing she wasn't, because as I just stated, I'm the one that supplied it to her on March 17th. So she obviously didn't have it. And since Nicole used the post office box as the principal, and between the principal first and then Celine second, a post office box is not proof of residency. You can't use a post office box to register children, and Nicole did it. The question is, why would the principal allow that?
Was Cynthia bound by the endorsement?
She's bound by the Education Act.
So you stated in the complaint that Pollard Meadows is not the school of record at Edmonton Law Courts, Court of King's Bench in Edmonton. Abbott School is. So did Cynthia know that Pollard Meadows was not the school of record for your children at the Edmonton Law Courts?
Did Cynthia know what?
Did Cynthia know that Pollard Meadows was not the school of record for your children at the Edmonton Law Courts?
I would have to say she did, because her lawyer, Nicole's lawyer, Kevin Livingstone, was the one who sent his assistant via him sent me the email, which I spoke to you of 10-15 minutes ago, showing that the letter was from him and then Pollard Meadows. So that means Kevin was in contact with the principal. So if he didn't tell her that there was an endorsement on November 24th, 2025, then that's misfeasance, and that is obstruction, because that endorsement stood, and he was the one who said on the record that they are attending Abbott Elementary. We never went back to court to change schools. There was nothing on the endorsement that said, okay, if you want to move to a different school, you have that leeway. No, the endorsement said they have to prove that the children went to school. His email says that the children were attending Abbott. So therefore, Abbott is the only one I'm seeing. When Norwood came up, I contested that, and then I just left that alone. And then I get an email in February, oh, they're at Pollard Meadows. I'm like, why do they keep moving? So the Education Act talks about attendance. Education Act specifically says, you got to provide a safe environment, do what's in the best interest of the children. Moving my children around proves that Nicole is not stable. The principal at Pollard Meadows, Cynthia, when she saw the attendance record, she had to have seen that, and she is supposed to step in and say, hold on, I need to speak with both parents and find out what's going on. Again, I will reiterate, there is no parenting order, there's no restraining order, there's no emergency protection order. So based on that, under the Education Act, there is supposed to be joint decision making. She doesn't have permanent residency. She doesn't have her permanent residency card. I know because I sent it back to immigration. because she was no longer living here at the house. So how could she say she's resident in the area to register the children for Pollard Meadows using a post office box? That's illegal.
How do you know Kevin got that information directly from Cynthia?
That he got which information?
Like registration information.
I don't say he got information. He's communicated with her because he's the one that told me via the email I spoke to you all that excuse me, that the children are attending Pollard Meadows. Now, back in November 14th, I spoke to you the email where he said the children are attending Abbott. So you're looking at Abbott, then you're looking at Norwood, and then you're looking at Pollard. So from November, December, January, 3 schools in 3 months. So that's not following the Education Act. That's not doing what's in the best interest of the children.
Justin's question was, how do you know that Kevin spoke directly with Cynthia about your students' registration?
I don't know that he spoke to them about the registration. All I know is he provided the letter. So the letter and the letter from Pollard Meadows, obviously it's implied that he did speak with her, because he's providing the letter from the school to me, not the principal communicating with me. That's what's supposed to happen, but instead it went through the attorney. Now they did that wrong, because the November 24th, 2025 endorsement said the registration letter, the communication was supposed to come directly from the through Nicole's counsel. But what happened with Norwood was the principal emailed me directly. Nicole emailed me directly. They weren't supposed to do that. That was supposed to come through their counsel. So this time around, Kevin made it a point not to mess up and made sure that he sent it to me coming from the principal. However, the school of record is not Pollard Meadows. The school of record is Abbott Elementary. And that's in Belvedere. So
was Cynthia required to know what the school of record was for your children at the Edmonton Law Courts?
You certainly, under the Education Act, with 67 days missed. I'd like to know what the statistics on how many children are 67 days. I don't even think they'd let it go that long. But with my children, which is a 60 scoop, they're 67 days and nobody is coming to me to ask, well, what's going on? No one's saying, well, we want to speak with both parents. This is why I say it's child trafficking and it's kidnapping, because under Section 282 and 283 of the Canada Criminal Code, it speaks to that. The children were taken out of school and relocated to Calgary within 48 hours. That violates the Family Law Act. So the principal at Pollard had to have seen, should have, ought to have, must have known, and looked at their attendance records, specifically for my daughter, because my son's only 5, but my daughter, she's mandatory, she must be in school. Why was she out of school for 67 days? Nobody wants to ask that question. So that's kidnapping, period.
Are you able to read the section of the Education Act that sets out parents are required to have joint decision making about student registration?
Yes, you're talking about of joint decision making. That's coming from the court. That's under the Family Law Act. So the Family Law Act, that trumps that. But let's see here. Let's go under section 4.1, talking about residents. Let's see here. We'll start there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's on page 19. Perfect. For the purposes of this act, a resident of Alberta means a person, 1, who is lawfully entitled to be or remain in Canada. Nicole doesn't have that. B, resident of Canada means a person, 1, who is lawfully entitled to be or remain in Canada. Nicole doesn't have that either. If she did, why would she use a P.O. box to register as her residence address? Why would she have a P.O. box for my children at Pollard Meadows? So she's not resident. If she was, she would have used an address.
Okay. I think that's my questions for now. I'll pass it off to Shauna for any other questions she has.
Thanks. I think I just had a couple small clarifying things. At one point, you mentioned that you went to Pollard Metals and you spoke with Cynthia McDonald. Can you please clarify for us what you meant when you went? When did you go to Pollard Meadows and speak with Cynthia McDonald?
Let me see here. Let's see here. I think it was, okay, that was March. I'm just checking. They had a teacher, it was on Friday, back in March. And so I went up there the Friday. Okay, yeah, so it was March 20th. Yeah, March 20th, they had, I guess, a professional day up at the school. So the school was closed. So I think it was the 19th was the day before, where I changed the information for my children on School Zone, and it said you have to get in touch with the school. No, that would have been Wednesday, the 18th. Okay, so the 18th was when I went up there, and then I made changes, and then the 19th I made changes online. Said you had to go speak with the school. Let me see here, Jan Sawyer. I think this is the one here. Okay. And so, let's see here. There. Okay, March 16th. Okay, so Monday, March 16th, 2026 at 4:53 was when I sent an email. And then I went into Family Law Act. It was either that day or the Wednesday. And said you have to contact the school to make any change. You had to prove your residency. So what I had to do was I had to go up there with my ID and my electric bill. And so that was the Wednesday. Yeah, because the Friday is when I went. The Wednesday, I think, is when I did it online. They said you got to get in touch with the school. So March 20th was when I went up to the school, but they had a professional development day that day. So someone that was at the school, and they said just put it in the mailbox and we'll get it. So I left my electric bill, and I can't remember some other ID, something else I gave them. Made a copy of it and left it in the box to show this is what my address is, because on School Zone, Nicole has a P.O. box as an address.
So when did you speak with Cynthia McDonald in person at Pollard Meadows?
I think it was the 18th. Yeah, it was the 18th, I think. It was the Wednesday.
And what was said during that interaction?
What was what? What was what?
What was discussed? What was said?
Oh, because School Zone said you had to come up, and if you want to make changes, we have to confirm your identity. So I came up there to confirm my identity.
Can you please clarify for us who Celine Vandermeer is?
She's the registrar at the school.
At which school?
At Pollard Meadows.
And so what is her role specifically? What is her responsibilities?
According to the letter I got from Kevin, it's administrative assistant. That was the letter that I spoke about 20 minutes ago, which is the one I got from Kevin Livingstone. And since she's a self-admitted convict and has 3 criminal convictions, she doesn't qualify to be registering the children.
Sorry, I don't understand the relevance of that information.
The relevance of that information is she's a criminal, and she's a self-admitted criminal in the state of New York.
How would you know that Celine Vandermeer is a criminal?
I didn't say Celine Vandermeer. I'm talking about Nicole Nicholas.
Okay, so Celine Vandermeer, what are her responsibilities
She's
or her
the
specific roles in
she's
relation
the
to registering students at Pollard Meadows?
she's the registrar. So the question is, how did she not know there was a court order? How did the principal not know there was a endorsement rather? Um, and how is it that they're accepting children with a 67-day record of non-attendance?
Okay, thanks, Justin. That's it.
Okay, so I'm going to jump to our final questions then. So what is your intent in filing this complaint?
My intent in filing this complaint is showing that the best interests of my children have been violated. Truth and reconciliation has been violated. 60 scoop has been conducted against my children. That the mother is a self-admitted criminal and convict with 3 criminal convictions in the state of New York and North Carolina. This is what my intent is, that there has been no rule of law compliance. This is to demonstrate that Nicole Tamara Nicholas is been in a violation and is not in compliance with the endorsement of November 24th, 2025 of Justice Krause. This is showing the violation of my parental rights, my indigenous rights, my children's indigenous rights, my children being whisked and hidden from city to city, very much like the 60s scoop. It's a carbon copy blueprint. Everyone's looking at me as I'm the bad person, but Nicole is the one who has the criminal convictions. I have no convictions. I have no criminal record.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us at this time related to the complaint?
Let me see here. Yes, the warrant of commitment, the brief from Forcelli, Curto, Deegan, Schwartz, Mineo, and Tirana LLP out of the state of New York. The fact that the press conference of the chief of police.
Sorry, Nanya, we're only looking for information related to Cynthia McDonald, not
It all
your ex-spouse.
It all connects to Cynthia McDonald because they were the ones who turned around and called the assistant superintendent and have me banned on every school in Edmonton. Meanwhile, Nicole has a criminal record, but would you all let criminals around children? Would you let sex offenders around children? Would you bar a parent and let a registered sex offender on school property? No, I don't think you would. So this is all connected. Hold on a second, I'm not finished. They're all connected. This is all connected because they threaten that they'll call the police. So I'm telling you, Nicole is inadmissible. Why isn't the principal reporting it? This is the email I just spoke. Why aren't they going to Canada border and saying that this woman is inadmissible? She doesn't have a permanent residency card. She's using a P.O. box to register children. That's fraud. That's called grant fraud because they're getting funding from my children.
We already have that information, Nanya.
Well, I'm stating that for the record. This is why, because according to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, there's supposed to be free, prior, and informed consent when dealing with indigenous peoples. I have not been given that, but I do want to give, I have all of everything listed here. I have that all in an email ready to send to you. Plus I'll give you my intervention I did at the United Nations, which is published by the United Nations Human Rights Council. So when I said that this is international child abduction and child trafficking, yes, it is. Two children in 3 schools in 3 months with a 67-day of non-attendance. This has everything to do with Cindy. Why is she not, as again, what's in the best interests of the children? You got to speak with both sides. No one's speaking to me. They're only speaking to Nicole, and she is a self-admitted criminal. So this speaks to the incompetence.
You mentioned you were banned from Edmonton Public Schools. Could you speak to us about what you meant by that?
This is the Dr. Andrea Cooper. When I went up, Dr. Andrea Cooper turned around and is the one who's saying I can't set foot on any of the school boards. I said, meanwhile, Nicole's the criminal. because I
Do
called
you
it
do you have
because
a communication
yeah, I
regarding
got an
that?
email. I've got an email. I've got an email from that for Jan Sawyer. Every trustee in Edmonton, I've emailed them my response. I have that. I can forward that. That's not a problem.
Sure. Can you just pull that up? I'm sorry, you said Andrea Cooper. Is that the
Dr.
name you're
Andrea
referencing?
Cooper is the assistant superintendent. Let's see here. Um, okay, so there we go. Okay, so this was dated. This is a fax that I sent following up on an email I sent on April 13th to Dr. Andrea Cooper and also Ron Thompson, who's the superintendent. So I sent them the warrant of commitment for Nicole Tamara Nicholas for civil contempt on July 14th, 2016. Pursuant to Immigration and Refugee Protection Act 117.1, no person shall organize, induce, aid, or abet the coming into Canada of one or more persons knowing that or being reckless as to whether their coming into Canada is or would be a contravention of this act. A CC was sent to the Public School Board trustees, Cindy McDonald, Celine Vanderlei, and all the boards of trustees for the Edmonton Public School System. So my response to your March 20th, 26 letter, along with the warrant of commitment for Nicole Tamara Nicholas for civil contempt, is attached with this fax. Nicole is an international fugitive, and it is required that you report her to EPS post haste. Failure to do so is an admission that you are an active participant in the kidnapping, harboring, and concealment of my Indigenous children from me. The bar you placed on me from all Edmonton public schools and property must be removed, as that is a Canada Charter violation. You are a participant of a 60s scoop done in 2025 and still current. Note, you accuse the Alberta provincial government of violating teachers' right to strike via the Canada Charter of Rights and Freedoms, yet you do the exact same thing they are doing to you, to me. How do you realistically think that the ATA is going to win their lawsuit against the government of Alberta while you violate my charter rights and my parental rights? I suggest you relook at your quantum physics textbooks on quantum entanglement. My children were not in school for 67 days, and no Alberta officials have said anything. That is a 60s scoop done in 2025.
Sorry, Andrea, or Nanny, I'm looking for the email or the letter that Andrea Cooper wrote to you. Is this sounds like what you wrote to them?
Yeah, this is what I wrote to them, and this is what I want to speak first. Let's see, this is called kidnapping, aiding and abetting. See Canada Criminal Code 282, 283, 467.1. And the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. How can they be registered without my consent when the mother has no PR card and uses a PO box as a physical address? I have the school zone info for change of student address before it was not blocked by Pollard Elementary School. Notice I've decentralized the data. Let's see here. I'm going to see if I included her. Yeah, see, and this has the attendance record, which I got from Celine. Because she put that in a PDF. Yes. Okay, let me see if it's this next email. Let me see here. think this is it. Okay, great. This is dated March 20th. Okay. So, this is an Edmonton Police Service file number. So this is why I'm saying that everything connects to Cindy MacDonald, because there's a police file number. 260-243-152. Mr. Ale, pursuant to section, this is March 20th, pursuant section 197A of the Education Act. A principal of a school, quote, must provide a welcome, caring, respectful, and safe learning environment that respects diversity and fosters a sense of belonging. 30 days without telling the father, what is that? That's harboring. Why would you wait 30 days to tell me my children are at a school they're not supposed to be at?
Sorry, does the letter say this?
Yeah, this is what, pardon?
Sorry, are you reading off of the
I'm
letter?
reading off the letter from Edmonton Public Schools, March 20th. Let's see, who is this? Yeah, this is from Cindy MacDonald.
Can you just read the letter verbatim, please?
Oh, certainly. Pursuant to Section 197A1 of the Education Act, the principal of a school must provide a welcome, caring, respectful, and safe learning environment that respects diversity and fosters a sense of belonging. Principal MacDonald has advised me of the following information. On March 18th, 2026, you, Mr. Nanya Ale, entered Pollard Meadows School without permission for the second time by following another family who were granted access. Upon entry, you stated that you were there to deregister your children as you do not want them at Pollard Meadows School. You told Principal MacDonald and 3 staff members in the office that your children are illegally registered here because their mother is in Canada illegally. You further characterized the situation as harboring and kidnapping your children. The principal explained that the children are Canadian-born and Canadian citizens and therefore have a right to funded education. You insisted that the mother had to show identification, stating that you are not a dummy and not to insult your intelligence. As this conversation went on, your voice got louder and you became more aggressive and demanding, waving and pointing your finger and leaning in. The principal asked you to leave 3 times, but you continued to argue, saying that you could take your children at any time. That was false. In response, the principal said that the court documents on record with the school stated that you have parenting time beginning on Fridays. In fact, the October 15, 2025 court order of the Honorable Justice J.D. Kiss states at paragraphs 2 and 3 that 2, Nanya Chabel shall have contact with the children every weekend from Friday at 4 p.m. until Sunday at 4 p.m., commencing on October 17th, 2025, until further order of the court or agreement. And she was in Calgary, according to her, at that period of time. 3. The children shall be picked up and dropped off by Nanya Chabel and Nicole Tamara Nicholas at McDonald's located at 11007-23rd Avenue, Edmonton, Alberta, for their parenting time. You further alleged that the court order was null and void. The principal asked you to provide the school with updated court documents, which I've already shown you. To date, you have not provided any updated court orders. You then showed the staff in the office that you had a witness on your phone. After approximately 8 minutes, you left the office yelling, flailing your arms, stomping out, and suddenly returning and aggressively asking for the names of the office staff. You yelled an accusation that the principal was kidnapping your children. That's true, and that the office staff were witnesses. That's true as well. On the way out the second time, you threatened that the principal had better have a good lawyer because she will need one, and she will. Again, wrongfully accusing the principal of kidnapping. You surreptitiously recorded this interaction and posted it on YouTube without the principal's consent with the title Principal Cindy MacDonald at Pollard Meadows School in Edmonton admits to child trafficking. If you fail to remove this video immediately, I'm advised that the principal will be seeking advice as to a potential defamation claim against you. During this rant, Mr. Ale, you scared the children who came to the office. There was only one child and no one was scared. You made the family and guests that were in the vicinity feel very uncomfortable and unsafe. Not true. A staff member hid behind her computer in the conference room as she watched and listened in fear as you became confrontational. A staff member in the staff room could hear the yelling as she was working and came out to see, then became fearful and left. The office staff was shaken and one member was in tears due to your accusations and aggressiveness. The custodian came out from his office as he heard you yelling and watched as the students and guests were in shock and fear, and he didn't say anything either to me. Your behavior was totally unacceptable and has left me no alternative. From this date forward and until further notice, you are not permitted to enter Pollard Middle School or any Edmonton School Division property or attend any school or division functions. If you are at any time present on division property or functions, you will be considered a trespasser and the police will immediately be contacted. In accord with Section 256 of the Education Act, no person shall A. disturb or interrupt the proceedings of a school, B. disturb or interrupt the proceedings of a school meeting or board meeting, C. loiter or trespass in a school building or on property owned by a board or conduct themselves in a manner detrimental to the safe operations of the school. Section 258 further states that any person who contravenes the expectations outlined in Section 256 above is guilty of an offense and is liable to a fine of not more than $1,000. This letter is being shared with the Edmonton Police. Be advised that the police will also immediately be contacted should you ever again threaten, harass, or disrupt the orderly conduct of the school or any staff member or student. Any contact you have with Edmonton Public Schools regarding your children's education will only be with the school's principal by email. Dr. Andrea Cooper, Assistant Superintendent, Cindy MacDonald, Principal, Student Files. And here's my retort. My response: pursuant to 117, and this response, for the record, again, was what is the date here? Yeah, this was April 13th. Yeah, April 13th. No person shall organize, induce, aid, or abet the coming into Canada of one or more persons, knowing that or being reckless as to whether their coming into Canada is or would be in contravention of this act. Pursuant to Alberta Education Act, Section 4.1. Residence, 4.1. For the purposes of this act, the place of residence of a person is governed by the following. A. A person is deemed to have only one place of residence. B. A person's residence is the place where that person ordinarily lives and sleeps, and to which, when absent from the residence, that person intends to return. With the web link, I have no restrictions to enter Pollard Meadows, as there are no court orders that deny me access to go to any public school in Edmonton in which my children are attending. Despite the fact Pollard did not inform me for over 30 days via Kevin Livingstone's email to me of February 5th, 2026. This is called harboring, kidnapping, and abduction under Section 282 and 283 of the Canada Criminal Code. You were not there, Andrea, so you don't really know what was said. You have to rely on Cindy and Celine. Yes, Celine gave me the attendance record when all I asked for was access to the school zone. School zone said I had to come to the school with my ID and confirm my residence. I left after the principal asked me to leave 3 times. My witness on the phone who recorded the interaction can confirm that. I asked for the documentation I needed to fill out to remove my children from Pollard Elementary. For your knowledge, there is no parenting order, nor does Nicole have a parenting order. Under the law, we must co-parent and cooperate as per PASS and PASS High Conflict. Nicole has been violating that and all laws in the province of Alberta, including the October 17, 2025 order. All Nicole has is primary care, nothing else. Nicole does not park in the McDonald's parking lot as per her request. She parks in the Scotiabank Boston Pizza, which is against the court order. In Canada, only one party needs to know a recording is being done. Cindy admitted to child trafficking and did not deny it. I do not have any video of March 18, 2026 interaction on YouTube. There was only 2 Cree First Nations and their son. That was it. You cannot speak for them. The staff member who became fearful and left obviously knew my children were kidnapped and abducted/detained by Pollard Meadows and had enough sense to leave. How would you feel if your children were out of school for 67 days and no Alberta public official inquired as to why? Why did the custodian watch? He knew what I was saying was true. That is why he watched. It is totally unacceptable for my children to be out of school for 67 days and no public official contact me, not the education minister, school board, or the principal. This letter of yours proves that school and other officials are violating the Canada Immigration Act, immigration fraud, the Education Act, grant fraud, mail fraud, and are running a child trafficking ring out of that school. Remember, you cannot use a P.O. Box address to register children in EPS schools. Since this is Fraud Prevention Month, Dr. Andrea Cooper, where else should I report this fraud being conducted by Celine, Cindy, Pollard Meadows Public School, and Nicole Nicholas? Please advise. I bring to your attention, Dr. Cooper, in accord with Fraud Prevention Month, from the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada statement from Ottawa on March 2nd, 2026. The Honorable Lena Metlich-Diab, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship, issued the following statement. March is Fraud Prevention Month, a time to highlight the importance of protecting people and safeguarding the integrity of Canada's immigration system. As technologies continue to evolve, fraudsters are finding new ways to exploit people hoping to come to Canada. Our message is clear. We will continue to take strong actions to detect, deter, and prevent immigration and citizenship fraud. This Fraud Prevention Month, we are asking everyone to take 3 simple steps. Spot, stop, and report. We will continue to take strong actions to detect, deter, and prevent immigration and citizenship fraud. With the web link, much appreciated. I look forward to your response. IRPA Section 4044 in the Education Act and the Family Law Act. And that was March 23rd was when I sent this email to Dr. Cooper. 6:35
Sorry, you
p.m.
previously said April 13th was the date of that email.
The April 13th was the date of the fax. The email, to clarify, this was the fax, and then the email, because in the email I just use a PDF. And so in the email, because you can get this if you want, it's Monday, March 23rd was when I responded to Dr. Cooper, because the 20th was when she sent me an email. I think it was on the 20th. Yeah, that was Friday. And so I responded on March 23rd.
With what you just read.
With what I just read, and in this fax includes my children's school zone, the email that I got from Celine on March 16th.
Great. Can you just forward those to Justin, please, for our records?
Yes, I can. I don't want to lose.
Awesome. And then I'll send it up to Justin. We are over time, so we do need to wrap it up. But thank you very much.
Okay, so do you want this one? Okay, and this one.
All right, so you will be sent an emailed summary of the main points of our conversation today in relation to the allegations you submitted to the Alberta Teaching Profession Commission. The summary is going to come in a locked PDF file from my email. The password will be the complaint number. Do you want to write it down?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's 2026 0000, so 4 zeros, 841.
Okay, got it.
Okay. You will receive the summary of this conversation before the commissioner issues their decision after preliminary inquiry. The commissioner will make a decision on the next step for this complaint. But sorry, I have the wrong date in front of me. June 23rd, 2026. And as noted previously, the Commissioner will make one of 4 decisions after preliminary inquiries to take no further action on the complaint, refer the complaint to mediation, refer the complaint to dispute resolution, or refer the complaint to investigation. Thank you for meeting with us today. Are there any final questions you have before we end the meeting?
Oh, for any final questions? Yeah, I just wanted to know, has the Cindy made any reports to either the RCMP, EPS, or CBSA regarding Nicole's non-resident and her
We can't speak to matters that are outside of this complaint process.
Pardon?
We can't speak to matters that don't pertain to this complaint process.
Yeah, but that's in the Education Act. You have to provide a safe. They
We
have
can't
no.
speak to matters outside of
No,
the
no.
complaint
He asked me if
process.
I had any questions, so that's my
It's
question.
outside of the jurisdiction of the commissioner, so we can't speak to that.
I didn't ask you to speak to it. He asked me if I had any question. Is that what he not said?
Questions for us.
Yeah, that's my question.
So we can't speak to that. It's
And
outside
I
of the
accept that,
jurisdiction
and
of the
I accept that for value and consideration, with full reservation of my Indigenous rights eternally.
All right. Well, thank you for meeting with us today. I will end the recording now at 10:18 a.m. Take care. Have a good day.
You too.